Heya, cryptozens. Tonight's stories. New York Assembly bans new proof-of-work mining facilities. Brazil advances crypto regulations. Central African Republic adopts Bitcoin. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is April 27th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm your host, Nick. The cover model for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. We're here to bring you the crypto news analysis you need to start your day. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. It seems like if there were a word for today, that word would be adoption. And of course, in this case, I'm not talking about fuzzy kittens or delightful children. No, in this case, I'm talking about something more important. I'm talking about Bitcoin, crypto. If tonight were a game, the score would be 2-1, adoption over rejection. Rejection is the opposite of adoption. So we have two inspiring stories of Bitcoin adoption and one story of a state assembly that wants to leave Bitcoin miners out in the cold. Now, let's take a quick look at the markets. A lot of things are mostly flat, almost no movement since yesterday, but there are a couple of winners out there. Let's look at the numbers. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.8 trillion, which is a hell of a lot better than the 1.67 it was last night. It's up 1.33% since yesterday. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 2.09%, Ethereum up 1.73%, Tether, Binance Coin up 0.85%, and USDC. And now a look at the NFTs. The global NFT market cap is up over $10.4 billion. That's down from yesterday. Sales volume is down 21.31% in 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Meebits, followed by Mutant Apes, Moonbirds, Bored Apes, and Win NFT Horse. Keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. New York Assembly bans new proof-of-work mining facilities. Anna Kelly's of the New York State Assembly is the bill's sponsor, and this bill, passed on April 26, would put a halt to all new proof-of-work cryptocurrency mining facilities that use a carbon-based fuel to power their operations. Also, it would prevent renewing permits for existing proof-of-work crypto miners that use carbon-sourced energy if they're trying to increase the amount of energy used. Now, I saw Kelly's earlier on Twitter, commenting that her bill doesn't ban anyone's ability to buy, sell, invest, or use crypto in New York. And she is correct. What she says is correct from what I've read. It does not stop people from trading in cryptocurrency at all. It doesn't stop a person from mining cryptocurrency unless. And there it is, right? In this case, the unless is what we talked about earlier this week. Remember the Greenwich Generation story? So Greenwich Generation took up a power plant that had effectively been abandoned. It was on its last legs anyway. It had been an old coal-fired plant. So it was purchased and then it was retrofitted to use natural gas, which is a whole lot cleaner. Then they went through about 2.5 years of permits and site evaluations and environmental impact studies. And it looks like all that time, money, and effort are going to go to waste. Because this bill got the support it needed to pass. Now, 52 people stood in opposition to the bill, with 92 people voting in favor of it. Kevin Parker from the Senate is going to be carrying it forward for a vote. If the vote in the Senate is successful, then it will go to the governor to either be signed or not. So, as a part of the bill, the Department of Environmental Conservation would be given some homework. They would be required to prepare a, quote, generic environmental impact statement. So, they're supposed to hunt down the proof-of-work miners and determine their numbers or location, the amount of energy that they use, and what sort of greenhouse gas emissions that they're responsible for. The Blockchain Association is a cryptocurrency industry advocacy group. Now, prior to the vote, the Blockchain Association had been calling on, quote, pro-tech, pro-innovation, pro-crypto New York residents to fight back, to oppose this anti-crypto bill. Now, my understanding is they're claiming thousands of messages went to the legislators. And they actually sounded kind of encouraged, surprisingly. They said that the debate on the subject took around 3 hours, which doesn't sound like a lot to me, but they said it indicates a, quote, greater opposition to the mining ban than the proponents believed. Now, they're planning on fighting this still. You see, it still hasn't gone through the Senate, and then, even then, the governor can veto the bill. They tweeted out, quote, next the bill will be considered in the New York Senate. All of our energy now must be directed to that house. Now, I did like seeing that there were multiple advocacy groups on the ground fighting this bill. Both the Blockchain Association and the Blockchain Industry Coalition are together in this fight. Because, unfortunately, this does not appear to be a one-off. It seems like this is happening more and more. There was a similar proposal before the EU. Very similar proposal in their Markets in Crypto Assets bill. That one was just narrowly defeated. It's to the point that they were considering banning Bitcoin trading to enforce the bill, or enforce the ban on Bitcoin mining. Now, I just don't see this bill doing what they think it's going to do. I think they're going to be disappointed with the results. Companies right now are chomping at the bit to get into mining right now. Not 2 days from now, not 2 weeks from now. They're definitely not going to want to wait 2 years from now. They're not going to want to wait around to see if the state of New York is going to let them make money. They're going to go to somewhere that isn't a question, like a Texas or a Wyoming or a Florida. And they're going to take their money with them. Which, okay, missed revenue is one thing. The tax revenues, the jobs gained, the boosting the state and local economy, okay, you can make that choice. You can say, saving the environment is so important to us, we're willing to sacrifice these other things to save it. And that's fine. That's standing by your principles. Okay, cool. What's going to happen to the air in New York when the miners can't get in at New York anymore? What I mean is, maybe they go somewhere where the guidelines and the requirements aren't as stringent where the environment is concerned. So they say, okay, New York won't let me make money here. We're going to go somewhere else. The pollution is still going to happen. In fact, it will likely be worse. So instead of leveraging the laws of the state of New York to gently and easily guide crypto miners in the direction they want industry to go, they just cut themselves off from the revenue, cut themselves off from the tax receipts, off from the jobs, and they got exactly none of the benefits. It's not exactly the way I would go. Brazil advances crypto regulations. I know it's counterintuitive to some folks, but I think regulation is a good thing, at least as far as crypto goes. And a lot of us do. Industry and investors both prefer stability. They want their supply chain to be stable. They want their working environment to be stable. And they want the laws and rules that regulate their profession to be stable. Regulation brings stability. Good regulation does anyway. So, after months of work, the Brazilian Senate passed a bill. And this bill establishes that regulatory framework. But before the bill becomes a law, before the Brazilian president can sign it, it has to make its way through the Chamber of Deputies. Now, as long as it clears that hurdle, it's expected to be operational by the end of the year, meaning industry and investors could expect to see some increased stability by the end of 2022. Now, we talked about this bill a while back, a couple of weeks ago. Its goal is to provide a complete regulatory framework for crypto transactions. This bill also sets forth some definitions. Now, one definition is virtual asset. They have it defined as a, quote, digital representation of value that can be traded or transferred electronically including payments and investments. So, it looks like if you want to deal in crypto in Brazil under this law, you're going to have to establish yourself local. You have to get a license from a federal public administration body or entity. Amendments also might well be on their way. At present, none of them have been added. And in addition, Brazilian lawmakers haven't decided which federal organization is going to act as the top financial overseer, the people that are going to be monitoring the crypto industry players. So, assuming that it clears the Chamber of Deputies and that the president signs off on it, they're going to be on their way by the end of the year. Central African Republic adopts Bitcoin. Unanimous. Central African Republic lawmakers were unanimous in their decision. They legalized the use of cryptocurrencies and made Bitcoin and the CFA franc legal tender. And according to his chief of staff, President Faustin Tudora signed the measure into law Wednesday. This makes them the first African nation and the second sovereign globally to bend their knee and adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender. And this is full-on actual legal tender. You know how some of these states, cities in America, they're trying to make it so that you can use crypto to pay your taxes? This is that and then some. It opens it up for citizens to use Bitcoin to engage in regular old commerce in addition to paying taxes. Obed Namzio is the president's chief of staff, and he said that the republic is, quote, the first country in Africa to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. He continued, this move places the Central African Republic on the map of the world's boldest and most visionary countries. The bill itself was introduced by the country's Minister of Digital Economy, Post, and Telecommunications, Justin Gorno-Zacco. Here's where things get a little interesting, because this is totally counter to the information coming out of the Republic. It was on Tuesday that Finance Minister Hervé Andoba said this legislation was being passed was not the same as like when El Salvador adopted Bitcoin. And as exciting as this is, let's talk about reality, specifically internet. Not a strong point. Only something like 11.4% of the country uses the internet. Most of them are in the capital city. So really, I'm not seeing how much of an effect this is going to have on the average citizen. 5 million citizens in the country, less than 1 million of them live in Bangui, the capital city. Anyway, the Republic also has a gross domestic product of roughly 2.4 billion. So globally speaking, not all that much. The Heritage Foundation's 2022 Index of Economic Freedom lists them as a repressed economy. So given all of these factors, it's really hard to predict what effect overall this is going to have on their economy. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Give us a review. You have no idea how much that helps the show out. Do you have questions or comments? Reach out and let us know. The email address is nick@cryptoovernighter.com. That's nick@cryptoovernighter.com. And check out my other podcast, Crypto in 5 Minutes. We are up to 41 educational podcasts. 5 minutes to explain one concept in crypto. And as always, may peace